Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out this headline. We got U.S. dollar collapse and a possible debt buyback. We're going to talk about that because that could become a very, very real possibility, I believe, ladies and gentlemen. We're also going to talk about the U.S. Treasury wants to regulate crypto as well. Somebody wrote a beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content. 1 trillion, 3 billion. That's where we are for the cryptocurrency market cap. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. 20,400 plus for Bitcoin. Ethereum, 1522 right now. And XRP is at 46 cents, ladies and gentlemen. We'll keep an eye on it. Let's get started this morning. It's Glint, baby. And shout out to XRP Spartan, who says, got that Glint delivered. Yay. Yeah. Now, listen, I use Glint for the debit card, the MasterCard debit card they have. I'm using gold as money. And in a time of uncertainty right now, people want to have gold and they want to spend gold. And that's exactly what XRP Spartan has done here. You can click the link to my sponsor underneath the video and check it out for yourself. I encourage you to know this. If you start doing it, you won't stop. That's for sure. It is so fun to use. U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, SEC, is not taking a position on two motions submitted nonprofit organization Investor Choices Advocates Network, known as ICANN, and crypto wallet provider Spend a Bits. They just asked that they be able to reply to their submission once it comes in. Now let's take a look at this. Drum roll, please. It's Elon Musk walking into the headquarters of Twitter with a sink in his hand. Let that sink in, he says. Yeah, shout out to him. It'll be interesting to see if he can get rid of all the bots. That's Elon. That's what I want to know. I know you can make a rocket go into space. I know you can make that rocket come back down to the ground and land without crashing, which is amazing. But can you get rid of the bots on Twitter? Can we do that? Blockchain.com introduces a Visa debit card that allows users to pay in crypto. Things keep going, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, things keep going. Google launches blockchain node hosting service with support of Ethereum. Apparently, they like high fees. Trust me, the jokes are going to go away starting right now, because we're going to talk about something very serious. You know, I don't just haphazardly talk about a U.S. dollar collapse or a potential debt buyback on any given day. It's the information we've seen. We've seen the problems in China. We know that central banks are connected at the hip. When it goes bad for some of them, it's really hard to contain that in an isolated event. Things usually become cascading. Well, the things in China, now we see Credit Suisse has posted a massive third quarter net loss, $4.09 billion. It's getting ugly. The bank is planning to raise $4 billion. This is one of the biggest banks in Europe. It's not good. We know everybody's frustrated with the inflation. They're feeling the pressure around the world. China tells state banks to prepare for a massive dollar dump and yuan buying spree as Beijing prior interventions have failed to stem its currency's worst year since 1994. Now, this was a month ago, but it is so relevant to where we're at because things aren't any better. Things are so bad, in fact, in the U.S., they had to redefine recession so they could say we weren't in one. U.S. Treasury asks banks if it should buy back bonds 2 weeks ago. U.S. Treasury asked major banks if it should buy back bonds. A debt buyback. A debt buyback. I want to play this clip that I did not long ago here with Linda P. Jones, and I want to play this for you because I want you to hear this comment she makes about bonds and the trouble with the U.S. Treasury bonds and why no one wants them. Let's start right here.
Dollars. And so, and many emerging market debt countries their total debt is priced in dollars. So when the dollar gets stronger, that means their debt is getting bigger. And it means that their energy prices are getting bigger. Their inflation is getting terrible right now because the dollar is getting so strong. So it's hurting all these other countries, which is why the UN and the IMF were saying stop raising interest rates, because when you raise interest rates, that strengthens the dollar even more. And so what's happened is that strong dollar means that nobody wants to buy treasuries. So Janet Yellen came out and said, hey, there's no bid for 30-year treasuries. There's no bid for 15-year treasuries, meaning no investors want to buy them because interest rates are going up and they're anticipating they're going to keep going up. So who wants to lose money? Because when interest rates go up, bond valuations go down.
There you have it. You're going to have a nightmare situation on your hands is what she's talking about, because people lose confidence in the bond market. There's no reason to put your money there, which could cause a systemic collapse. The bond market is the backbone to the monetary system. It's a very real conversation when you think about the United States Treasury exploring a debt buyback when the country is $31 trillion in debt, ladies and gentlemen, and the Federal Reserve posted its first operating loss in years. Gold Telegraph's got it right. This is where we are. But it's not possible, they said. It's a conspiracy, they said. Now, I'm not suggesting at this point that we know something about Ripple and XRP. We don't. I speculate about the idea of XRP being used in a situation like this because I absolutely believe XRP was created to deal with a new monetary reset, a paradigm shift. In fact, the greatest financial paradigm shift in the history of mankind. I do believe that. I don't believe anybody sat around and said, you know, we should create something like XRP just because, well, hell, it's sunny out. When we think about a debt buyback, what does that mean? What does it look like? Well, let's use the definition from the OECD, which is an organization for economic cooperation and development. It is 38 member countries. It's an intergovernmental organization. They deal with economic progress, world trade. We see them a lot of times contribute to reports and documents from the IMF, World Bank, and things of that nature. So it's reputable for the definition, right? Well, the definition of a debt repurchase agreement, debt buyback, the repurchase by a debtor of its own debt, usually at a substantial discount. The debtor's obligations are reduced while the creditor receives a once and for all payment. Now, let me just for a second come back here, right? Treasury's asking major banks if they should do a buyback, a once in all payment. Let me go ahead and get them back from you because I know they're trash, right? Now, let's go one step further, right? Let's go one step further back. Because China wants to do it too. So what happens when China does it? What happens when the other countries do it because inflation is still out of control? And in order to try to keep their own dollar propped up, they sell the U.S. treasuries, which they know are junk, just as a last-ditch effort for themselves. That bailing on those treasuries could cause a cascading effect, I believe, if I understand all of this correctly. I believe that I do. And think about a much larger repurchase and debt buyback of the dollars floating around the world with Rosie Rios' name on them. And think about the idea of the introduction of a new Fed coin, like was introduced as an idea in the R3 report a few years ago. Think about the idea if they use XRP to put it back on the back of that. You could peg it to whatever denomination you needed to based on the formula for the utility and liquidity traveling across the network, let alone the amount of debt that's placed on the ledger as well. There's huge implications here for where this could be going. Let me be clear about what I'm really saying. I don't have an idea if they'll do this. And I don't know if they would launch a new dollar directly from the Treasury and you would repatriate your dollars from the Fed that are bloated. I don't know if there would be a call to action to where you have to call for this note, and if you want to turn it in, there'd be a 3-to-1 ratio on the old dollar versus a new dollar. But I'll tell you what, there's another clip I want you to hear in here, and it's from Linda P. Jones's conversation with me, and I want to play it from right here because this says it all for me. One thing I am sure of, regardless of my speculation, is this fact she makes right here. Cascading effect that's really damaging, because what we're talking about now is the crisis is a monetary crisis, right? It is a money problem, and it is a problem for the central banks of the world. It is not like the last crisis we had in 08, 09, right? This isn't about real estate swaps. Everything will be affected because the problem this time is in the money itself.
Right. But here's the thing. When you're dealing with money, especially globally, nothing can happen by accident.
That's right.
Nothing. Everything must be planned, coordinated, practiced. There is nothing left up to chance when you are talking about money.
And there you have it. And I don't think you could say it any better than it needs to be said right there. And they are practicing and they are rehearsing. It is the BIS that's had several reports out just in the last few days, along with the IMF, the World Bank, and everybody else is playing along. The U.S. Faster Payments Council. Nothing is being left to chance, ladies and gentlemen, when you're talking about money. They're going to get it right. U.S. Treasury wants to regulate crypto fast. It goes on to remark here, and I believe we've commented on some of this, but I just want to cover it again. It says here, there's a spot I want to read for you here. The report concludes that crypto asset activities could pose risks to stability of the U.S. financial system, emphasizes the importance of appropriate regulation, including enforcement of existing laws. This is vital. Government stakeholders collectively work to make progress on recommendations. You know, the report was issued by the Financial Stability Oversight Council. I mean, we've been saying this for over 2 years. And if you're moving to a system that is going to be the launch of the new central bank digital currencies, that will be the new reset, will it not? We're talking about 100% reserves if it's going to be a real stable coin. And I couldn't agree with the gentleman, Henry Chang, any more in this comment. And what a missed opportunity it would be to launch a new digital central bank digital currency or stablecoin attached to the same old problems, debt and fractional lending. Moving the world from a debt-based system to an asset-backed system that is fully collateralized. That's why banks and central monopolists don't want it. That's why they're moving so slow. Because they know that the innovation comes with accountability at a level that impedes on the profits that they make off of the current friction. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Which way this thing goes, nobody knows, but I'll tell you this much right now before I go. Ripple feels like they know which way it's going to go now, don't they? I'll catch all of you on the next one.